Episode 6. A dull thud echoed, and Suna's body crumpled to the side. She gasped for air. An excruciating pain shot through her side. It felt like a rib might be broken. Suna curled up on the floor. The broth-soaked floor felt cold. She hugged her side, but the pain didn't subside. Every breath felt like being stabbed. In that moment, memories of the past 33 years flashed through Suna's mind like a panorama. The first memory, her wedding day, herself in a white dress, smiling happily. She had truly believed she would be happy. The second memory, her first holiday, swallowing tears after being scolded by her mother-in-law. That was the beginning. The third memory, the first time her husband threw a spoon. It hit her forehead, drawing blood, but she couldn't even go to the hospital. The fourth memory, her husband's words, "You're nothing without me." Those words had spellbound her. The fifth memory, his patriarchal declarations. A woman's place is in the home, treating her not as a human but as a housekeeping tool. And now, this moment, herself lying on the floor, being kicked. This was humiliation. As a woman, a wife, and above all as a human being, it was an unbearable humiliation. For 33 years, she had endured and endured, but this time was different. The kick, it was violence that treated her as subhuman. Something deep within Suna's chest exploded. The anger she had suppressed for so long surged up like lava. A scream that she could no longer endure coursed through her entire body. The living room was frozen in an icy silence. Though over 20 people were present, no one spoke. It was so quiet you couldn't even hear breathing. The relatives looked at each other in shock, but no one intervened. They were all bystanders. Some turned their heads away, some averted their gaze, as if nothing had happened. Sister-in-law Mira bit her lip and looked out the window, pretending not to see her brother's violence. Sun fiddled with her phone, looking down. They were women too, but they were not on Suna's side. Slowly, very slowly, Suna raised herself up. The pain in her side was excruciating, but she bore it. She stood on trembling legs, and she looked her husband straight in the eye. Her gaze was different now. It was not the gaze of an obedient wife. It was not the gaze of a woman who endures and suffers. It was the gaze of someone who had made a decision, who had awakened. That's enough. Suna's voice echoed in the living room. It was quiet, but firm. Everyone looked at Suna. "I can't take it anymore. I endured for 33 years, but now it's over." Suna looked directly at her husband. Her gaze made him flinch. It was a look from his wife he had never seen in 33 years. Yaren came to her mother's side. Her daughter's eyes were tearful, but her expression was resolute. "Mom, you're not alone. We're all on your side." Hanul also stood by his mother. The two children flanked their mother, a small but strong solidarity. The three of them stood together. Seeing this, Suna realized, these children are my real family. More important than blood is a connected heart. I want a divorce. Suna's declaration was short and clear. As she uttered that word, a word she had never dared speak aloud in 33 years, it felt like a heavy stone rolled off her chest. "It's a good decision, Mom." Hanul put his arm around his mother. His hand was warm. When did he become such a sturdy adult? Suna stood before her husband's room door. She knocked. There was no answer, but she felt movement inside. "I'm coming in." She opened the door and entered. Her husband was sitting on the bed, looking out the window. His back looked strangely small. The imposing figure of the household head was gone. "I endured for 33 years, Suna began. Her voice didn't tremble. It was rather calm. "But it ends today." Her husband turned. His face showed more bewilderment than anger. It seemed he never imagined his wife would act like this. "What are you saying? Have you lost your mind?" "No. For the first time, I've come to my senses." Suna looked straight at him. She was no longer afraid. She realized this man could no longer control her. "You never loved me, not even once. I was just your housekeeping tool, a machine to cook, clean, and do laundry. That's a wife's role." Her husband raised his voice, but Suna didn't waver. "No, a wife is a partner, someone to live life with, not a maid." At Suna's words, her husband was speechless. The things he had taken for granted his whole life were being denied, and he was at a loss for words. "The moment you kicked me, you crossed a line. It's something I cannot forgive." Suna hugged her side. The pain was still there, but it kept her awake. "I want a divorce. I can't live with you anymore." With those final words, Suna left the room. Her husband shouted something after her, but she didn't hear it. No, she didn't want to hear it. Returning to the living room, Suna took a deep breath. Tears fell. But this time they were not tears of sorrow. They were tears of resolution, of liberation. "Mom, we'll help you," Yaren said, hugging her. Hanyul showed his phone. "I found a lawyer's contact. Let's go for a consultation tomorrow." Suna looked at her children and smiled. It was the first genuine smile in a long time, the first free smile in 33 years.